U.S. District Court judge has ruled against Senator Lindsey Graham in his efforts to avoid testimony in front of a Georgia grand jury. The Fulton County DA has subpoenaed him in her investigation into former President Trump's attempts to overturn his election loss in that state.
Just moments ago, the judge issued a 22-page ruling that reads in part, quote, "The court finds that the district attorney has shown extraordinary circumstances and a special need for Senator Graham's testimony." Joining us now to speak about all this is Paige Pate. He's a criminal defense and constitutional law attorney. Good to have you on. I suppose the first question, Paige, is can Senator Graham appeal?
Absolutely. Senator Graham, I think, has already indicated through his office that they're going to continue to challenge this. If so, they have to seek permission to challenge it in front of the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals, which is here in Atlanta.
And this is coming as Rudy Giuliani has also been ordered by another Atlanta area judge to appear in person, I believe, this Wednesday before a special grand jury related to the investigation in attempting to overturn election results there in Georgia. He has said that he is not able to attend and cannot travel. What do you expect the judge to do in response to that?
Well, I think Judge McBurney in Fulton County has already suggested to Giuliani that you need to find a way to get down here. I think there's evidence that he's been able to travel to some extent, but regardless, the judge has already considered those arguments and said you're going to have to testify. If you can't fly, drive. If you can't drive, get on a train, whatever you need to do to get down here. But it's important to understand these are two completely separate challenges. Senator Graham went to federal court and relied on the Constitution in arguing that, hey, you can't call me in to testify because what I would be talking about would be privileged information as part of my legislative duties. That federal judge, Judge May, rejected that argument completely and said you've stepped outside of your role when you made these calls to the Secretary of State in Georgia. On the Giuliani side, it's a Fulton County Superior Court judge. He's not able to rely on the same type of constitutional protection. So you have two different judges in two different courts hearing these challenges to the subpoenas, and both of them so far have said these witnesses must appear. The only question now is when and what questions will they have to answer.
It is mind-spinning, and it's understandable if viewers at home are confused at the number of investigations that are currently ongoing in that state. Given that we are likely to see an appeal from Senator Graham, how long could that last?
Well, that's up to the 11th Circuit. They could take it on an emergency basis, which is how Senator Graham filed the initial challenge in federal court. They could hear it very quickly, but it's likely that they would, if they accept the appeal, delay his testimony before the special grand jury and allow both sides to submit written arguments as to why their position is correct. It's an important issue, because if the special grand jury is allowed to ask Senator Graham about questions relating to what he talked about with former President Trump, then that could conceivably get into legislative matters. But it's also critically important because those conversations could be the basis for a conspiracy charge or a RICO charge here in Georgia. So it's a critical issue.
Let's get back to that Fulton County investigation. Your take on the speed at which Fani Willis's investigation is going at this point, because we should note that prior to that raid last week and that search at Mar-a-Lago, this was the investigation that many legal experts said the president should be most concerned about.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think Fani Willis was well ahead of the federal investigation, at least based on what we saw, because her subpoenas have been more out in the public because those witnesses have challenged them in court. We didn't know what the Department of Justice was doing in connection with this classified material until the search warrant was executed at Mar-a-Lago. Now, either side could pull the trigger first or not at all. In Fulton County, because of these challenges to the subpoenas, it's going to take that special grand jury a bit more time to hear from these witnesses. And remember, it's a special grand jury, so they can't indict anyone. They can only make a recommendation for indictment. On the federal side, after the raid was conducted or the search warrant was executed, they now have evidence, arguably, that classified material was held at Mar-a-Lago. Nothing preventing that case from moving forward.
Paige Pate, thank you so much for breaking it down for us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.